Hey guys, this presentation is going to be a little bit longer than the other ones because there is just so much to say on this topic about finding and joining group boards, and it's just really, really important, especially because this is just a really frustrating process. So I want to make sure that I give you guys all the tools that I can to escalate this process as much as possible. We're going to talk about how to find group boards, what to look for in group boards, recommended search criteria, how to contact board owners, and what to say when you request to join. Pingroupie.com is the quickest way to find group boards, but a word of caution, it isn't necessarily the most efficient when it comes to actually getting invites. We will discuss how Pingroupie works, and then I will give you a better solution to finding better quality group boards. I'm just going to come out and say it, this process absolutely sucks. And for about every 30 boards that you request to join, you can generally expect to hear back from maybe 1 or 2 people at most if you are lucky. It is one of those processes where you just have to contact absolutely everyone and know that next to nobody is going to get back to you. The problem is that you don't have too many followers in your account. Most good board owners aren't going to give you a shot at collaborating on their board. I do have some strategies for how to make your profile and your request to join a little bit better. This is why your content and your pins matter so much, as well as what you say when you contact them. You want to make sure that you arm yourself with enough stuff that they have no choice but to just give you a shot on their board. It's not a fun process, but keep at it, and some people will eventually get back to you. It's a numbers game, so the more requests that you send out there, the more that you will hear back from people. So what to look for? That shouldn't have all popped up at once. A large amount of followers is good, but repins and engagement matter more than anything. The deal is you could find a board that has 100,000 followers on it, but if they're mostly fake followers or followers that aren't really engaged, the virality score and the performance scores of that board are going to be really low, and your content is not going to do well on them. So followers is not the only measure that you should use. But I do have a recommendation to make things easier. Set a number of followers that you'd like to have on your group board and apply to everything that you can in your niche or sub-niches that meet that criteria. It's much harder to tell whether a group board is performing well. Pinterest used to show you exactly how many repins each particular pin had on it. So when you looked at a group board, you could tell if there were a bunch of pins with no repins or maybe only one. And of course, if most of the pins had a bunch of repins, you would likely be able to tell that, okay, my content will probably do well as well. The easiest way to sort through them is to apply to as many, meet your criteria, and then analyze whether they perform well in Tailwind. You can search for repins. I'll show you how to do that. But I think the easiest way to do this is just to kind of set a set number of followers that you want to have in the group board, apply to everything that meets that number, and then afterwards, you need to have Tailwind to determine whether these boards are actually worth your time or not. But if you go ahead and join them and then you wait 24 hours, you'll be able to see that data on Tailwind. And as far as how many followers you should aim for, the good rule of thumb is to not join any group boards that have less followers than you. And the theory there is that if you have 500 followers on your account, if you join a group board that only has 100 followers, your content is barely going to be seen by anybody, and your pins will end up doing better on your own account than they will on a group board. And we're going to talk more about the nitty-gritty of that in the next video. So I recommend you watch the next video first before you start applying to any group boards, just so that you kind of have an overview of how everything works before you go into it. This varies from account to account based on how many followers you have. I just explained that. A good rule of thumb is to only join group boards that have around the same amount of followers as you have. And it's not perfect because some boards with less followers could still have very good performance scores and will still be beneficial to you. I remember when I was at about 50,000 followers, I did have a couple of boards on my account that had only about 30,000 followers, and that's because my content performed really, really well on those boards. If you have about 1,000 followers and you find a group board that's got about 900, that's still about 900 new followers that you have access to, so you will have to kind of use your judgment on some of this. If you aren't sure, it doesn't hurt to request to join. Remember that it's a numbers game. And also, don't bother with boards that you only have 1 or 2 applicable pins for. We don't have too many recipe pins, but we only have maybe 1 of those recipes that's for paleo. So I'm not going to join a paleo recipe board that I can only pin 1 pin to. It's just a waste of your time. Try to stick to group boards that are in the largest topics that you are going to write about. Don't bother with boards that you only have 1 or 2 posts for. It's just a waste of time. So how to find group boards? I'm going to show you how to find group boards with Pingroupie pingroupie.com first, and then we will discuss how to find them a different way that I sometimes find a little bit more helpful. Let's go to pingroupie.com. So this is what you get when you hit pingroupie.com, and this is the category of all. So you can search for certain categories. I could put in health and fitness here, and I could hit filter, and that's going to only show health and fitness boards. There's health and fitness and skincare tips, healthy life, all kinds of stuff. Let's say I want to be more specific than that. Let's say I want weight loss. So I'm going to put that in the description here, and it's not going to be in the title of the group board, it's going to be in the group board's description. So that's going to kind of give me a wider range of boards that I can pin weight loss to. Because I might find a fitness board, but on that fitness board, you can actually pin weight loss pins to as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put weight loss in the description. You can hit order by. And what this does is if I order it by collaborators, which is the default, it will sort by how many people are on that board. Now, I don't really want to join a board that's got 7,000 other people pinning on it because the board score is likely to be really bad. I usually sort it by followers. I think that this is the best measure. You can sort it by repins, but I also don't think that that is a very good measure because the followers may be really low. So I go ahead and I measure by followers. I think that's the best way to do it. Go ahead and hit filter, and you'll see that this first board here, Weight Loss Tips, has 605,000 followers. So if I want to check that board out, I'm just going to right click on this and on the board title, and I'm going to hit open up in a new tab, and it pulls up this board on Pinterest. So this is Change in Seconds. This is their board, and they have 442 people pinning on this board. They do say no longer accepting contributors. I would not use this as a deterrent. Know that you will likely not hear back from them, but I would still go ahead and apply anyway. And then I could go look at this next one. Here's a good rule of thumb as well. If the boards that are at the top that have the most followers, remember that they get the most requests. So you're not likely to hear back from this person because they get requests from people every single day. You can go ahead and apply anyway, but know that you're not likely to hear back from these top boards. So I can go ahead and I can click on another one. And this is actually my board. It's not a group board anymore. I just recently changed it. But Pingroupie, another thing to keep in mind is that Pingroupie only, see, it actually says I have 31,000 followers. And on this board, I actually have 77,000 followers. It also tells you that this last crawl was 9 months ago. So they have not updated this in 9 months. That's another reason why you should use the other option that I'm going to show you as well. Look over the person's profile, look over the description on the board, look at how many contributors they have. If they have 2 contributors, it is not very likely that they're going to let you on because they obviously just don't really pay much attention to it. Or like me, I never have more than 2 or 3 at a time because I don't have the time to monitor the pins that everyone pins on my boards. Just keep that in mind as well. If it's only got 1 or 2 contributors, it might not be worth your time. So that's kind of Pingroupie in a nutshell. You really just need to get on it and play around with it and look at all the different boards that they have to offer. Give Pingroupie a try and see what you find. Another way to find boards that are usually much better quality is through looking at the profiles of your competitors. Look and see what group boards they have joined. And to find competitors, just search a popular topic, board, or people in your niche and sub-niche. The easiest way to do this, again, you could search Pinterest for people in your niche, but let me show you a quick way to do this. If we go to Pinterest, what I can do is I can scroll down to my boards, and so I can see this healthy recipes board. I can click on their profile, and I can see what other group boards they own, what other group boards they are on. So they have a crockpot recipes board, so I know that this is a good pinner. They have 164,000 followers, and I get very good engagement from their group board. So basically, I think that any group board that they have is likely to be a good board, and any ones that they join are likely to be pretty good boards. So I'm going to click on this crockpot recipes because it's a group board and see what it's about. So I can see that this is also owned by the same person. I could contact them again and see if they'll let me join this group board. Now, I don't have many crockpot recipes. In fact, I think I have 1 article. That's not really worth my time. I'm not going to worry about it, but I'm going to look at the rest of their profile. Again, you want to look for this circle here. They have homesteading, garden ideas, DIY. You see, these are all group boards down here. They have a lot of them. So what I would do is I would just start clicking on these. Some of them are going to be their boards and some of them are going to be other people's. This makeup tutorials person owns this board. So again, it's a really great way to find quality group boards. So I recommend just finding some people in your niche and see what other group boards they join. The other really good way to look at it is to find people that are in your niche that have about the same amount of followers that you have, because the chances are is that they found a group board that if they got in at 500 followers to a group board, the chances of you getting on that same group board are much higher. So how to get invites. Here is a invitation quality hierarchy. And basically the best way in order to get an invite is to email them. This is the best way to be able to reach them. A, because they're more likely to see the invitation, and B, because you can say more. You can give them more of your story and impress upon them why they should invite you to join their group board. The second best option here is Facebook Messenger or reaching out in some other social media that is not Pinterest. And the reason messages via Pinterest are last, and the reason I say this is because I showed you guys before, when you look at your messages here, generally it defaults to this notifications, and this inbox right here, it doesn't tell you when you get a new message. When you send a message to people, they don't necessarily see it. I only check this once every couple of weeks, and then I generally go through the contacts and I clear out all of the people that have asked me to join group boards if I don't want to join them. So that is probably the worst way to do it. And then commenting on pins is also right about there with messaging on Pinterest, because in order to see a comment on a pin, you got to scroll down here. And sometimes it doesn't even show you. Like I'm looking and I haven't had a comment in a while, or Pinterest just hasn't shown me. So commenting on pins is not a very good way to reach people either, because they don't generally see it. This process is hard anyway. Getting people to accept you is so hard, but if they don't see your message in the first place, it really just ends up being a waste of your time. So look for email addresses in the group board description. If that doesn't work, look for the link to their website on their profile. And when you get to the website, try to find a contact page or a form on their website. I have done this many times. I've gone through, found their website, found a contact page or a form, and then just pasted my information into that form. And I have had people get back to me that way. So that is a surefire way that they are going to see your request. Make sure that you follow their board first. You don't have to, but this is just really good practice. The group board owners appreciate it. So here are some tips on requesting to collaborate on group boards. Remember that you generally only have one shot at this. You likely won't be able to chat with them further about it because most of them will ignore your requests or they'll read over it. Sometimes they trash it, sometimes they won't see it. Treat it like a formal business meeting or proposal. When I'm on Pinterest, I am using it to personally try to grow my own business. I consider all interruptions from message requests annoyances. The people that you're requesting to join, they may use Pinterest personally for their own, ideas, the way that Pinterest is designed for, or they may be trying to grow a business. And just keep that in mind. You need to offer me something in order to, direct my attention away from my business to read your message. Again, they take time away from my own business, and I'm not interested unless I think it will benefit me in some way. But I just don't have time to give the handouts to other people that request, and especially because I now run a Pinterest program. If you request to join one of my boards, I will absolutely evaluate your account and make a decision. And sometimes I don't respond because, like other people, I just don't have time to. I just want to get you in the mindset of what other people can't think that they're just on Pinterest just hanging out, waiting for requests. They are absolutely busy and trying to run a business. Do not make the request about you. You need to highlight the benefit that they will receive from the collaboration. The easiest way to do this is to send out a lot of requests without it taking all day long. And the way to do that is to have 1 or 3 kind of templates that you use to contact people. Separate these template requests based on different sub-niches. Avocado has a general niche of health and fitness. And then you can kind of divide that into 3 main categories of yoga, diet, and weight loss. You could divide it even further into healthy recipes, healthy living. Basically, when I search for group boards, I'm going to look for yoga workouts, yoga poses. I'm going to look for diet, clean eating. Detox kind of falls in that category. Losing weight, workouts, all kinds of different stuff. So just divide it into certain niches, but try to come up with maybe 2 to 4 categories that kind of can broaden your request. That way you can kind of just copy and paste these templates to different people, and you don't have to write up a separate email every time you contact someone. And I keep these templates in my notes app on my computer so that they are easily accessible. Sometimes they're in my email and I have them all saved in my email, but I also have them them. The ones I use to message people, or I have them saved in my Notes app on the Mac computer. It's the same Notes app that you have on your iPhone, and I have them in there so that I can just copy and paste them into a new request. So let's talk about email requests specifically. You want to make sure that you use their name whenever possible. This will make sure that the request is a little bit more personal. You want to include the name of the group board that you want to join. Again, you want to make this process as easy as possible for this person because they are taking time out of their day to read your request and possibly send you an invite. Also, make sure you provide a link to your Pinterest profile and your website. Include the email address that is linked to your profile because that is generally how a lot of people send the request via Pinterest. You can type in the person's name, but sometimes if you aren't following each other, the name won't come up. If you signed up via Facebook, remember that your Facebook email account is going to be that one that is linked to Pinterest, so make sure that you include that email address in your request. And then include a personal touch when possible. I'm going to show you examples of that when I show you the templates that I'm going to give you. Make sure that you always say thank you for their time at the end. Make sure that you thank them for their time at the end. Be as polite as possible. And create a separate group boards folder in your inbox to keep track of your requests. I absolutely recommend doing this because you'll be able to tell kind of who you've contacted already before, and you can just, it's easy to look back and see what you said to certain people, so you can kind of copy and paste that information for new emails. It's just a really good way to keep track of all of the requests that you have sent out. And it's always good to have those contacts from people in the future, just in case you need to get in touch with them again. When using the same template to send to multiple people, remember to change the following information every single time. This is very important. Remember to change the name of the person you're contacting. If you're copying and pasting the same request and you accidentally use somebody else's name from the previous request, when you're sending the new one, it's going to look really tacky and really sloppy. And if they're smart, they're going to know that that's exactly what you're doing, that you're copying and pasting, and you have completely lost the personal touch. People like when you find an interest in their board, so if they think that you're just sending the same exact request to everyone, they're not likely to accept you. Remember to change the name of the group board. I have accidentally sent emails before with the wrong board, and it became very obvious to that person, I'm sure, that I was just sending out a bunch of emails. Whatever personal note that you added that applies to that person specifically, you may or may not have a personal note in every single one. Sometimes if a certain board catches my eye, or maybe if the person lives in Austin as well, because I live in Austin, I'll add a personal note just to kind of, make that connection with them. If you've added anything like this that applies to that person's brand or website or Pinterest profile or that board specifically, make sure you just edit that out as well. And here is an example of an email request, and this is one that I use personally. I've pulled this straight from my Gmail inbox just to show you guys what I do, and I'm just going to kind of go over what I said and why I said it. So you'll notice at the top I said, "Hey there." Hey there is what I say when I am not able to find the person's name. I would have used a name if possible, but I couldn't find one, so I said, "Hey there. My name is Lauren. First off, you have an awesome Pinterest account." I started out complimenting them. "I came across your board, Save Money on Travel, and I was hoping to collaborate with you." And now that I'm seeing this Save Money on Travel, I can tell you that I actually did get an invite from this email. So I said, "I just started my website a couple of weeks ago at createandgo.co," and I let them know this next fact because I wanted them to know that I was not a brand new beginner, because I said, "Although I can assure you that I am no stranger to using Pinterest for business, my Pinterest account has 17,000 followers, but I also run a health and fitness blog, Avocado, on a different Pinterest account that has over 65,000 followers." Now, I did this on a few of the Create and Go invitations just to let people know that I wasn't brand spanking new at Pinterest. So if you are brand spanking new, of course, you probably don't want to say that, but this is what I did in particular on Create and Go. So that was why I said that. I said, "We are currently traveling in Nicaragua with a group called the Wi-Fi Tribe," and I linked to the Wi-Fi Tribe's website because it's a beautiful website. There's a lot of travel photos. I'm requesting to join a travel group board, so this was very, very relevant. And I said, "We're going to begin posting more about our travels as we travel through Latin America in the next year. I really think that my pins would be a great fit for your board. I create them all myself myself in Canva, and I can assure you that I follow all board rules and guidelines. I explained to them that I do create all of my own pins, and if they look at my account, they can see that my pins look very good, and I also assured them that I follow all board rules and guidelines. So I do find that's generally important as well, just to make them more comfortable that, I'm very well aware of how group boards work, and I do follow all rules. And you can see here that I said my profile can be found at pinterest.com/createandgo.co, and the email address associated with my account is avocado4@gmail.com. I made it as easy as possible for them to evaluate my account and send me the invitation. And at the end, I said the traffic to my blog would really mean the world to me. Thank you for your time. So that's one example, and I have one more. This one is coming from my health and fitness account, so I just wanted to give you kind of a different example. And it says, I didn't say, hey, Brittany. I don't know why I should have, but it just says, my name is Lauren McManus, and I'm the co-founder of avocado.com. We have lots of health and fitness content, including anything from workouts to healthy food articles. I came across your board, OGT Blogger Friends, and I was hoping you'd allow me to contribute pins to it. I design all of my pins myself, and my content generally does pretty well on Pinterest. I think pinning on your board would really help the traffic grow on my website, but I also think that it will really help your boards grow and repins in the long term. Again, I highlighted the benefit that they would receive from it. My Pinterest profile can be found at, and I listed my profile, email associated with my account, and then I said I'd really love an opportunity to collaborate with you, and I'd be happy to send you an invite to join one of my group boards in return. Thanks for your consideration. One group board can really make a big difference for a small business owner like myself. I do recommend, if you have any group boards and you have some leverage there, you should absolutely tell them that you will send them a request as well. And I've had people give me an invite because of this. If the person I'm requesting to join, if they aren't a very good pinner, I do not do this because I'm only going to let good pinners on my boards. But if I look at their account and I think that they're a decent pinner, I will often offer that up as leverage. So that's just something to keep in mind as you grow, because it definitely will help you get messages back. Just keep that in mind. Read over these templates. I definitely advise you to kind of use some of the content from them and make them your own, make them a little bit better if you can. Just make sure that you include some of that core information that I told you, and I hope those help. We're next going to talk about other message requests. Keep it short and sweet and hope for the best. You don't have much room to talk. When you're on email, you can send as long of an email as you want and kind of say as much as you can, but when you are using this really small Pinterest inbox here, see, this is what it shows up like. You can't separate it out into paragraphs, so you will end up just looking like you have a crazy long paragraph if you try to say it in there. Keep it short and sweet and hope for the best, because the chances are they're probably not going to see it. I'm going to show you 3 different examples, and again, these come straight from the Notes app, right from my computer, and I'm going to kind of separate them out into three different niches so you can sort of see what I've changed from each one. This one happens to be for blogging boards that I used on Create and Go. It said, hey Melissa, used her name. My name is Lauren. I came across your board, blogging, marketing, and social media, and I was hoping I could collaborate with you. I just started my website a couple of months ago. Although I'm no stranger to using Pinterest for business, I have another blog in the health and fitness niche, and the traffic would mean the world to me. I'd be happy to let you join one of my boards in return. My Pinterest email ID is avocado4@gmail.com. Thank you for your time. Cheers. So you'll notice I said those same things. I said her name, name of the board, my Pinterest email, and I didn't link my Pinterest profile just because she could easily just click on my profile picture and go straight there. But most of the content was relatively the same from the email. Here's an example of a travel request. Hey Mira, I'm currently traveling through Latin America over the next year with a group called the Wi-Fi Tribe. I will be blogging about my travels and on my website, and I would really appreciate an opportunity to collaborate on your group board, Travel the World Community Share Board. My Pinterest email is avocado4@gmail. Thank you for your time. Again, it's relatively the same thing, but I added in that new little thing about the Wi-Fi Tribe just to make it a little bit different. And lastly, here's an example from my health and fitness account. It says, hey Aaliyah, I was hoping to collaborate with you on your healthy living board. My blog at avocado.com has a lot of posts on health, fitness and weight loss content, and I would really appreciate an opportunity to share them on your board. I can assure you that I only pin large vertical pins that perform well because I make all of them myself and closely monitor my account every day. My Pinterest email is l.mcmanus06. Thank you for your time. Cheers. Again, these all highlight the same things. They just have a little bit different context in them. Another thing you might want to highlight is that you've taken a Pinterest program on growing your account and you're very well aware of what pins perform well and what don't. This can be something that you can definitely tell people. You just want to make sure that you kind of have some selling points, that you highlight what it will do for you, but what it will also do for them, that you make really great pins. Give them a link to their profile to check it out and really prove your worth. I would use all of those different factors in there, just keep them all in mind and really make some templates that really work well for you and your brand. Copying and pasting these, as long as you change the names and the boards and a little bit of the content around, it will make this process go a lot easier. So that is the end of this presentation. I told you it was going to be a little bit longer, and there's still a lot to talk about with group boards, because in the next presentation we're going to talk about when to leave them. You're going to join all these group boards and you're going to get on your Tailwind account and look and see how they do, and you're going to realize, oh wow, a lot of these boards actually suck. And then you're going to kind of have to figure out, well, when do I know to leave them? They still have 500 followers or 5,000 followers. Should I keep them on even though my content may not perform all that well? It can be really hard to determine when this is important. So we are going to talk all about that in the next presentation. I will see you there.